Say, kids, what time is it?
The future is coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on, it's coming on.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are.
It's afternoon here in beautiful upper mountainous Boulder Creek. Very cloudy today, I might add. But I guess it's not clouds, it's more the fog that's coming around this time of year, huh?
I guess
Yeah.
it's almost end of April. Maybe it's more April showers.
April showers.
We definitely have some foggy, cloudy
Yeah.
skies.
Well,
Gray
gee,
instead of sunshine.
I just hope it's great for whale watching. We're going with some friends tomorrow for whale watching out from Moss Landing.
Yeah.
So
I hope so too.
It should be pretty interesting.
That's right. A happy birthday, Stessa.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
So let's check this connection with Bobby. He went in and out there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bobby, can you hear me? Be like 10
there he is.
seconds.
There
There
he
you
is.
are.
Yeah.
Hi.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. It's always wow, this tech. If the tech gods are
is.
smiling on us, we're
We
happy.
get spoiled and forget what a miracle it is that we're connecting so many different worlds together through this fabric of wires and lights and screens and wireless signals. And
You know, it's really good training for dealing with stuff that goes south on you.
yeah,
Right.
remain calm, start over.
And it carries over to other things. Like it goes from, oh, son's microphone isn't working to
Ding! Yes, it is.
our friend John G is having a emotional crisis with her boyfriend.
No.
We need your help right away. No, something like I'll
That
be
is
stay-
not the message that appeared. That was
No.
completely fabricated,
No,
by the way.
well, it had nothing to do with the message. That was a synchronicity or a synchronistic infundibulum thing. No, this is more like if I get your mic working, I can deal with Jenja's problems with her boyfriend.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. It's a generalized effect. And who did just check in right there? Anyway,
Yeah, who did just check in? What story are you telling?
Billy Sunshine.
Oh, okay.
right, so Julie's
Relationship counseling. You'll have to call in for that. The phone number for call-ins, the lines are open.
Yeah, you want to do some relationship stuff? I don't know, man. We got so many cool science stories.
Oh, well, okay. You want to save it for later?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I do.
We'll have
I
to
do.
save it for later.
Now,
if
Billy
you
did
want
turn us
counseling.
on to Avi.
We hope will be our guest in the
Yes.
second hour if
Yeah.
her Harbin connection comes through.
That's true. It's very rare that anything comes out of Harbin because
Yeah.
Harbin is a Wi-Fi phone unfriendly zone.
We have lots of fascinating things to
Yeah.
talk about in
That's
case
true.
Avi doesn't make it. But nevertheless,
Yes.
we're prepared for either eventuality.
That's right. Oh, by the way, there is a new friend online for all of you called Llama 3. It's just released and it's free. It's a free AI akin to ChatGPT-4. And you can just go to the website and start asking away.
Now, this is different than the old Llama, which has been around for a while, right? That's Meta's AI.
That's right. That's right. This is Llama 3. It
Oh,
is
this
also
is-
a meta process, but you just go to meta.ai, meta.ai, and you can ask it anything. You can run your email through it and make it sound more professional. It'll play trivia music.
Have
or-
you been interacting with Llama 3?
I did. I was experimenting a little bit with it earlier.
Did you
and
have satisfying engagement?
I did. You can ask the question, imagine, IMAGINE, and it will then show you a picture. Like imagine a poodle playing a violin or a hedgehog sitting on a chair playing chess or a blue alien. And imagine. You put imagine and then you put that and it'll create an instant image for you.
Okay, so it's doing the
Yeah.
text-to-image thing that a lot of the AIs are delivering for our pleasure these
So if you
days.
want to do a more colorful instant chat and you want to just come up with a picture that might reflect the conversation you're having at that moment, it's there for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. And if you have your Facebook account, you can go into it and it'll remember your previous chats so that you have some memory. Otherwise, you don't have to log in at all. You can just use it whenever.
Okay.
So that's meta.ai. I'd be kind of curious what you folks' experience of it is or how you might mess with it in an interesting way, which is always fun. There's a first functional graphene semiconductor that's been announced.
Really?
Now, this
Tell
is
me
huge.
more.
This is the transition away from silicon to other things. And there's researchers at a university in Atlantic, Georgia Tech, and they've created the first functional graphene semiconductor. It sort of speaks of what's next with the high-tech silicon universe. Graphene is a simple sheet of carbon atoms that are held together by the strongest bonds known to man and woman. Semiconductors are materials that conduct electricity under certain conditions and is the foundational force of electronic devices. This is a new fundamental substrate teamed by Walter de Heer, a professor of physics at Georgia Tech. And opens the door to doing all kinds of new electronics, smaller, faster machines. One of the big things is that they are able to dispel heat much more efficiently than silicon.
Yeah, there was a really interesting repost a couple weeks ago by Elon Musk about this technology in particular.
Yeah.
And it was a description of how the semiconductor works by basically creating like a vibration that frees up an electron to go across the field. And what makes it so much more efficient in this carbon form as opposed to the silicon form is that the efficiency and the fact that it is so much less hot, is so much cooler.
Right. It's super
means
cool.
that it has tremendous implications, and that we'll be able to get a lot more power and a lot of different kinds of designs that are more compatible with the other kinds of electric circuits that are being designed and manufactured.
Yes.
So.
Smaller, faster, cheaper.
Yeah.
Faster, cheaper. Smaller, faster, cheaper.
Yeah.
The graphene it's a two-dimensional material. And instead of a three-dimensional material where heat goes up sideways and up and down and sideways, it only goes sideways, left and right. And the interesting thing is if there's any electricity, it shoots across.
What was that?
It was shooting across.
Oh, it looks like it shot Bobby right out of the screen. He froze.
With
Oh, there
zero-
he
You're
is.
back.
He's
You're
back.
So the electrons have no resistance, and so it's like a superconductor, and it also does it for. So if there's any heat, there's no heat on the surface, but on the edges is where the heat goes. It goes right out.
Fascinating.
The thing is that you need a semi. It's not a semiconductor. It is it's
Conductor, a plasma conductor.
So what they did is they created what's called a band gap, which makes it, they put these little gaps in, spacing gaps, which create this resistance, which makes it a semiconductor. In areas it conducts, in other areas it doesn't. And that was the trick that Georgia Tech had solved. Yeah.
Cool. And you mean they solved that trick with the with this carbon construction?
Yeah, with band gap. Yeah, it's kind of a spacing that they put between the materials and created a semiconductor that way. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, they are making marvelous new inventions right under our nose. I think everybody who is paying attention to the advances in our communication technology and in our peacetime technology, the things that help us to communicate better as humans and to make things less expensive and more accessible, all of those kinds of inventions are keeping us optimistic about the fact that the future that we're all anticipating is right around the corner. If we can just contain those voices of violence and
And
those forces
that want
destruction.
to vaporize us all.
Yeah, they're always there.
They're always there.
And
It's
we
part
gave
of the
everybody
process.
a bigger megaphone, so now we have to increase the megaphone of the actual voices of civilization, not just the crazy nut jobs who have suicidal ideation
Yeah, the crazy nut job that keep us awake.
at night with nightmares.
Anyway. So I think it's interesting that this discovery comes at a time when silicon, which is what all our modern electronics are made, is reaching its limit in terms of the face of fast computing and smaller sizes and heat and those things. All those issues are just about reaching their end with silicon. So it's really cool that this new discovery with graphene is coming in to take its place and allow us to go to the next level.
Yeah.
I think we see this pattern in many different fields right now, which is very encouraging.
What else?
Also increase the capabilities of quantum computers, because right now we're taking silicon and we're freezing it so cold next to almost zero,
Yes.
and then superconductor, and then that's how you get this super quantum computer happening. But now you have graphene at room temperature as a superconductor, and now you don't have to freeze it as much. So now we'll see quantum computers that don't need to be frozen.
That will be huge. It's kind of like the room temperature superconductor work back in the 80s and 90s. Pons and Fleischmann, I believe it was, only for real.
Yeah.
Now it's a real repeatable thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so a breakthrough.
Yeah,
Thank you, Georgia Tech.
And who knows what else it might impact? It might impact our way in which we generate energy. You know, a lot of the energy from the field effects and 0 point and all that might have new meaning with this type of technology.
Yeah, weren't you discussing some other articles about how these kinds of technologies are going to be applied to allow us to maybe create like bioelectricity and hydrogen from algae? And
Yeah, that's another story. Living solar panels, folks. Yes, living solar panels with algae in your solar panel. It's the combination of bioelectronics and biology to create new types of circuits, if you will, new ways of getting things accomplished. In this case, generating solar energy that's useful to us.
solar photovoltaics.
Yeah, I have a whole story just on that this week. It's pretty fun. Let's see if our machine is responsive enough to get there quickly. Not quite.
It's interesting. So are we having network issues?
Yeah, I think there's some bandwidth stuff going on.
Some bandwidth stuff going on. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thank you for freeing up the bandwidth for our broadcast. So you are on other less reliable networks while you try and bring in the information that you prepared for the show.
I'm working on it. Okay, here we go. The researchers achieve monumental breakthrough with solar cells made from living material. That's the piece.
Yeah. I thought this was fascinating. Of course, we live here on our in our solar powered studio, where we harvest electricity from sunshine. And so, of course, we're very interested
Algae
in
sandwiches.
people who are farming electricity from new methods.
Yes, algae sandwich, live freshwater algae.
In the solar panel. I'm imagining these green algae solar panels that are plugged into wires that are lighting up, bulbs, things like that.
Keep imagining, and maybe you can ask Meta.ai to give you a visual.
Okay.
All right. It's called Pithoporia, Pithophora. And it's a form of algae that usually grows on the surface or the bottom of aquatic habitats. And for these
the kind
experiments,
of stuff you have to clean off your aquarium.
well, yeah, kind of, I guess you call it pond scum if you're uneducated. Anyway, it was a source from a pond to create the group's solar power producer. This is experiments that were done in India. And at just 1 square centimeter, the device included 2 different types of electrodes, and it was able to produce 1/3 of a volt under open certain conditions, 1/2 a volt under ultraviolet light, which is performing pretty well. Yeah. And 10 connected devices, you get 5.5 volts, and it starts getting to be very useful in the low power devices arena.
Sure. So you have something about the width of a ruler, except only a centimeter wide, that can create like a 9-volt battery, right? Something.
Or 5 volt. We use 5.5 for a lot of electronics today. Like you plug something into your USB port, 5.5 volts, pretty normal.
Well, the idea of bioelectricity is really kind of a frontier concept, I think.
Yeah.
If we can grow batteries instead of having to recycle them, right? Instead of having to get the metal shipped back to somebody who charges it up and then sends it back out again.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could just replicate. We can get new batteries without having to buy them.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
You want pet batteries?
Well, with my little battery farm where I grow my batteries. Yeah, that'd be nice.
You're going to be a battery rancher.
Yeah, battery, raise them properly. They give you joltage for longer. Speaking of which, I did order. I'm experimenting this week. I ordered these new replacement AAA and AA batteries. Usually, I get the nickel metal hydride. They're usually pretty cheap on Amazon. But this time, I ordered ones that are called lithium. They're just straight lithium, and they don't drop in voltage slowly. And instead of 1.25 volts, they're full 1.5 volts when you buy them, which is more like regular good old alkaline that are not rechargeable.
So that's kind of a breakthrough in
Yeah,
size,
it's a breakthrough.
right?
The
The lithium batteries you've been talking about the last few years have been, like car battery size.
Well, they're a little bigger, but there's,
now these are double
they're
A
still.
size?
Well, what's interesting about these, AA and AAAs, is that they have a little micro USB or USB-C connection directly on the battery. So you don't go to a charger. You just plug them right into any USB power source.
Oh, boy.
And off you go.
USB everywhere.
Have you tried those yet, Bobby?
I have on the double A size and lasts longer than the nickel cadmium or nickel metal hydride battery.
Exactly.
You mean that you can use them longer? Their charge lasts
They
longer.
last longer. If you put them in your remote, they'll last longer. Or your mouse especially. Your mouse kills the batteries really fast, comparatively. But I understand, though, that when they go. Like, it'll suddenly drop. Like, with the nickel metal hydride batteries, you might notice that your mouse starts getting less accurate and less able to track. And these maintain the full voltage, and then, boom, they're dead.
That's right. Don't give you any prior warning. They
That's
just
right.
drop.
It's like
they drop like 5 times later. Like, you would have changed the other ones 5 times by the time these drop, right?
Yeah, it's like, boom, suddenly a stroke and an aneurysm at the same time.
Oh.
Boom, they're dead. But they can be resurrected.
And then
You just
they can
plug
be
them in.
recharged.
Yeah, they just plug them in and off they go.
That's
again.
great.
Yeah.
That's the best of both.
Yeah.
So they last longer, they're not undercharged, and they're rechargeable with a plug-in.
That's right. The first generation ones have the micro USB plugins. I'm noticing some of the new ones, especially through the Chinese Amazon. What's it called? Tiva, something like that. Anyway, they're using USB-C plugins for their batteries now. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that. It kind of goes with the story here, and it also leads to one of the big breakthroughs that we've heard about in the news in the past, especially 20, 30 years ago, where folks started claiming they were able to run their car on water. Right?
You mean hydrogen, right?
No, water.
Oh, water.
Just fill up the car with water, and it would use the hydrogen and the oxygen to run the car.
Okay. So you have one of those?
No, what I'm saying is that those ideas, they fell a little short in terms of being able to generate enough energy or be most efficient in the ability to get hydrogen and oxygen separated. Like, the big problem is separating the water molecule into its component parts. It's hydrogen and oxygen.
More power goes in than comes out.
It takes a lot of juice to separate them. It's a strong referee.
With electrolysis.
With
as
electrolysis,
the medium.
as the referee, in this case. And what's one of the alternatives that this monumental breakthrough of living solar cells represents is that you'd be using biology to split the molecule, and it would be much more energy efficient than straight electricity.
So you're going to feed
the
water.
microbes. You feed them. You feed the algae, and it separates the oxygen and hydrogen itself with its own biological processes.
It excretes hydrogen and oxygen.
Yeah, essentially. essentially.
Isn't that one of the things that happened before the Precambrian era that changed the atmosphere of the Earth?
Well, yes, these are all very important elements in the future, but those are long-term processes, millions of years in action before they really change the Earth. So,
I don't know. We might be amplifying it. We're using an awful lot of electrical processes.
we have a lot of what am I saying? A lot of biological organisms that excrete methane right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't think that's changing the atmosphere?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So in this case, it would
Isn't
be
methane hydrogen, just it's a particular form of it that's useful as a fuel?
No, it's just
Bobby, why don't you just chime in on that one? What is it about methane?
well, methane. When you have flagellants, when
Yes.
when
Yes.
what happens? That's methane, and what happens is on the planet we have a lot of cows instead of growing plants. We're meat based, and there's a lot more methane than before. And then when the tundra melts, what happens in these Arctic places and the ground starts to melt, it releases methane again. And methane is was it 10 or 100 times more greenhouse effective than carbon dioxide. So it actually warms it much faster. So when there's more methane in the air, there's more heat and we create this greenhouse effect. And so that's the problem with methane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bet you didn't know that, Mrs. Future.
No, I don't. I don't know much about these chemical things. Please stop that.
All right. Methane, a practical demonstration
There
of
you
methane.
go.
And many, many biologicals do that. Not just us.
Farting has been a meme in X this week, right?
No, really? Well, how so? Why? I mean, it seems like it's a perennial thing.
It has to do with the courtroom drama around Donald Trump. Sleeping, snoring, and methane.
Gabby chimes in on this one. She just wants to let us know that actually farts, not just of methane, but nitrogen and carbon dioxide. And the smell depends on the ratio. Yeah, thank you, Gabby. That's so important.
I agree. See,
it's complex.
From the book, from the iPad Elements app,
yes.
there is a very lengthy description of methane as an example of a particular form of hydrogen.
Yeah.
And so I think of it as as basically a hydrogen molecule. So I'm not sure how we can work with it or how we break it down, but hydrocarbons are hydrogen and carbon, and methane is hydrogen.
Yes, you need the right cracking tower for it.
Yeah.
And you can split it in all kinds of stuff.
Right. Hey, listen, it's time for us to take a little break.
Good, I'm ready.
I bet you are. All right.
Methane time.
Hey, folks, here's a little something from our friends at Santa Cruz Voice, who you're listening live. So hang tight and enjoy.
Come and meet the best businesses and job opportunities in Santa Cruz County. The Pajaro Valley Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture's Business Expo and Job Fair is Thursday, April 25th from 4 until 7 at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds. This is an event full of exciting activities for all. Taste samples from fabulous restaurants, win prizes, and get to know local businesses. Thursday, April 25th from 4 until 7 at the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds. Admission is free and everyone is welcome.
The votes are in. Chef Ben here from Back 9 Grill and Bar at the Easy Off Past Tempo exit. We are so proud of our food and our service and your votes. Back 9 has been voted Santa Cruz County's best burger and best happy hour in the good times. You've heard me talking about our house ground burgers. It's time for you to come and try one so you can taste the juicy difference. And what makes our happy hour the best? You have to come and experience it yourself. See you at the 9.
Cannabis is one of nature's most beneficial plants. So at Treehouse, we use it to build community. Hello, I'm Jenna from Treehouse Dispensary in SoCal. In addition to the finest cannabis products, Treehouse dispenses information to those who want to know how to use cannabis for maximum benefit. Though we aren't medical professionals, we do know how cannabis science can help you. Listen to Carly.
Thanks, Jenna. For those who would like a cannabis flower that picks you up, stimulates your creativity, and makes you feel happy, Treehouse suggests the sativa varietal Banjo from the local growers at Coastal Sun. Banjo will pick up your day right away.
To learn how to use cannabis for the best effect, just ask us, your friends and neighbors at Treehouse Dispensary, 3651 Soquel Drive in Soquel. You must be 21, but no appointment is necessary, and the information is free. And for those who already know what they want, Treehouse has an online ordering option at ourtreehouse.io and drive-through pickup. We look forward to welcoming you to our Treehouse community.
Okay, we are back. That was a good break.
I'm sure. It seems like good timing.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hey, shall we get a little bit of space news in while we're at it?
Absolutely. What's happening in space?
Okay, well, one thing is that there's a new solar sail mission about to launch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, solar sail. Who's sailing on the solar wind?
Speaking of wind, yes.
Segue. What are all these bells going on?
Oh, Billy and
be
Gabby are having a fascinating conversation on floral sounds that come from the human body. We've triggered off a whole deal here that has to do with the May 7th event that Apple's announcing, right, Taylor? Right.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
bacon and ground beef always lead to floral sounds. This is part of their conversation there. I'm not sure you want to go there. That's what No Agenda folks would call the troll room. They have parallel conversations where they continue on something they're interested in and keep an ear open to what we're saying. And every so often the two combine.
Right.
But often not. However, we get to track both, and that's half the fun.
Indeed.
So, as I was saying, solar sailing that's going on the winds of the solar energy going through our solar system. There's an experiment going on by NASA for low-cost missions using solar sails.
Can you turn that off somehow? Where is that coming from?
You just turn down the computers.
They're both at 0, so it's coming from some
It's
other
coming from
source.
something else. Okay.
Yes.
Oh man.
I think it's coming from the iPad.
Yeah,
I've
they
got a
just
there we
want to
go.
squeeze in these comments.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
It has been silenced.
Okay.
All right.
So the solar mission is actually being launched on a New Zealand rocket called Rocket Lab Electron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's a small satellite, and it will take off from Rocket Lab's Complex 1 on the Mahia Peninsula in New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey. What am I thinking? New Zealand. New Zealand.
One of those new places.
Yeah, a new place. I wonder why they got the New Zealand and we didn't. You know, we got Jersey, we got New York. We've got all these Connecticut names, but they got New Zealand. Anyway. ACS3, which is called, is what the Planetary Society is behind. The Planetary Society are basically citizen scientists and regular, full-blown scientists working together to help explore space. And it was started as an experiment in 2021. It was called Light Sail 2, and that demonstrated the feasibility of solar sailing. And now, with this one, with the 3, it will be tested to further, and what it will allow would be low-cost missions throughout the solar system.
Cool.
Some scientists, I'm not saying all, some even think that we could send a probe to another star system using solar sails.
Cool.
So if all goes according to plan, tomorrow, April 24th, Rocket Labs will launch it. And it will be going up about 600 miles, 965 kilometers above the Earth.
Excellent.
It will fly at more than double the altitude of the ISS, the space station. And at that altitude, NASA says that the force of sunlight will be enough to overcome atmospheric drag and increase its altitude. So it should have some autonomy at that point, at that altitude. And just to put it in perspective, that's not a lot of energy. It's equivalent to the weight of a paperclip on the palm of your hand. Not very much. But that will allow, it's enough for us to be able to harness that energy and move the spacecraft. Isn't that amazing?
What's amazing is that they'll cover such vast distances with so little fuel, right? That there's a solar wind that just pushes things through space that are that size.
Yeah. And we saw how successful sailing ships are on our planet. Mm-hmm. Why not between planets?
Yeah.
I think the downside of that is that it's very slow. Mm-hmm. Sailing ships are not very fast. Mm-hmm. Well, how long did it take the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria to arrive in the Caribbean?
I don't know. 6 weeks, something like that.
That's one of those things you can easily ask any of the AIs and get an instant answer. But I'm not going to do that.
Can you?
No, I'm going to say 90 days. And
don't you have Llama accessible?
I do. I have them all there, but I don't really care that much. But I know it's around 90 days, something like that. It's a long time. The main point in this instance is that it's much, much longer. And in terms of interplanetary space, that's not just months. That's years between planets. Mm-hmm. But the advantage is that it's free and that you could stack it up with stuff that you want to get there eventually. That's like book raid at the post office.
Well, I thought that, how big did you say the satellite is? The satellite's
It's
tiny,
very small.
isn't it?
It's very small, but it's a proof of concept.
Uh-huh.
And that's one of the things we like here on the show is, in the future now, we like to see the very first time things are being tried out. Mm-hmm. And where they work, especially interesting. Mm-hmm. So in this case, the solar sail goes up tomorrow, and we'll see if this solar sail, which is operating on the amount of energy or the equivalent to the weight of a paperclip resting on your palm, see if it works. With that amount of energy, it should be able to have some autonomy at about 600 miles up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the tiny amounts of energy that is required for the crafts that are going through space.
Yes.
Didn't you have a report today about Voyager 1?
Yeah, there was an update. There was an update on the Voyager universe. That's right. It was
Voyager, our furthest space mission.
Well, they had some difficulty in communications recently.
Yeah. We thought that we'd heard the last of Voyager. We thought it was going into senility, right?
Yes, well, it is one of our oldest spacecraft that are still operational, 46 years old.
Since 1977.
It
been
is
flying out.
Our most distant object that we've created.
Human-made distant object, right? And it's still sending messages back to Earth.
Well, a computer fault stopped it last November.
It was sending gibberish, but it was still sending something.
Yes, it was gibberish. We were happy about the gibberish, but it's still, we're getting something, but better than dead silence. But now they fixed it so that it's sending intelligible information again.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
I mean, these classic scientists who are responsible for these old missions, they are amazing. Their breadth of detective abilities.
It is, and thanks to the Deep Space Network and all the thought that's gone into the NASA design, it's still working 46 years, 24 billion kilometers, 15 billion miles away.
Right. What did we figure it out? It's 4 times the
more than
distance
4 times.
from Neptune. It's if you
well,
went out
distance
to
to
Neptune
right.
times 4, that's how far Voyager is now.
24 billion.
131 AUs.
Yeah, 130. And AU is the distance between the Earth and the Sun.
Yeah.
And that multiplied by 94 times, you said, Mrs. Fisher?
Well, here is my simple math in my little brain that Neptune is about 30 AUs, and that's our most distant planet in the solar system
It's way
that we
beyond that.
recognize.
It's way beyond that.
And it's 4 times beyond that. So it's a little more than that. It's 130 AUs compared to about 30 AUs, which is how far Neptune is. So I said 4 times. It's actually 4 plus a little.
That's pretty
4 and
far.
a third. 4 and a quarter.
So the solar sails will be catching up with it eventually, probably, once they figure out how to make them more faster.
Yeah.
But it's so distant, it takes the radio messages fully 22.5 hours to reach us.
Even
at the
if
speed
they're
of light.
garbled.
Speed of light, 22.5 hours at the speed of light.
And so they've been diligently sending messages out to Voyager to ask it how to describe what's wrong, and they figured out how to redirect the processing of the onboard computers. So instead of happening in a corrupted part of the computer, they had it happening in an uncorrupted part of the computer. And that allowed them to do some amount of regenerating their operating system, and that allowed them to correct the communications so that they can once again understand what Voyager
that's good.
is
Good summary.
saying.
The usable data is mostly about its health and status.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're getting fundamental information
It's
about.
cold. It's cold out here.
Yes, it's cold, but I'm alive. Don't know much else, but that's about it for now.
Those last few months, I was shivering.
Soon, maybe I'll be able to notice what stars or stuff I can see around me, but not yet.
Well, it's going to be in interstellar space for what, 10,000 years before it gets close to another star? I mean, it's
at
really
least.
just on the
Yeah.
beginning of the journey.
Though, might get help. Remember Star Trek 1, the movie? I mean, they took.
Oh, yeah,
the
Voyager.
aliens picked up Voyager and updated it.
And didn't Voyager come back and say, we need to remove the infestations of the carbon units on this planet?
Yeah, it got a little corrupted about it on its origin story.
It didn't
Yeah,
remember that
it
we
was,
were its parents.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because
right.
it's not a carbon unit.
No, we're your parents, not food.
The first AI.
Not pests.
Voyager.
Yeah, well. But what was interesting there was that they did take our spacecraft and expand its mission rather dramatically.
Well, you're talking about Star Trek,
Voyager.
the movie.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah,
The
they did
Voyager movie.
I mean, they didn't make it a really interesting artificial intelligence, which it was essentially.
They made it cute. Remember, it was
Yeah.
that bald
woman.
woman, right? Isn't that how she was represented in the movie? Voyager.
They did have some sexy qualities to it. That's true. And our AIs could stand to benefit from some of the Hollywood magic in that department.
That's right.
But it is one of the world's greatest space missions that continues and continues and continues. And that's good.
Yay.
That's good.
And
I mean,
can
it's
continue
primary.
telling us how it's doing out there.
Yeah, its mission was Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, but it's gone way beyond that now. And part of it is thanks to its onboard radioisotope RTG, the radioisotope thermoelectric generator.
Oh, that's what reminded me that you had
Mm-hmm.
this article, because basically it is being powered and warmed by the decay of a plutonium fuel source.
That's right.
So just one little free radical decay is when that little molecule separates from the plutonium, that creates enough heat and enough acceleration for Voyager to continue operating.
Decaying plutonium into electricity for 46 years. And it will go on for thousands of years, but there is a continual decay process in which the generators will be producing slightly less power each year, as the plutonium
It runs out of
runs long.
half-life.
Yeah. How much longer it'll last? Uncertain. But engineers have been able to eke out extra years, extending its life, and it's still alive. So who knows? Maybe they'll figure out how to keep it going forever, kind of like what other scientists are trying to do about life extension.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Ray Kurzweil that predicted by 2029 that we'll be able to extend the human life by more than a year.
Every year.
Every year. Yeah, so theoretically, you
Exponential.
could keep alive.
Eventually, we'll reach immortality.
Yeah, if you're extending a year every year, then you're ahead of the game if you don't have an accident or something.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
considering that the UN statistics of the last few years have had a lot of countries decreasing their lifespan every year. I think that in
Yeah.
our country it went from around 78 to down around 72 now as the average life expectancy, something like that. So if we get back to where we can increase it a year every year, that'll be good.
Yeah. Now, the way Voyager did it with its RTG is going to be real different from the way we do it. I mean, radioisotopes are not exactly healthy to biology. But they're fine for our electronics.
Not good for carbon
not
units.
Using radioactivity for power is not a bad deal for the electronics. Not so good for us, at least in its current form.
Yeah, as long as it goes safely away from the Earth instead of crashing back down onto it.
Yeah, right. So keep an eye open. Voyager 2 is not that far behind. Because Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are both way out there. Voyager 2 was actually launched first, interestingly enough. Voyager 1 is further out right now. Yeah. So I think that's it for Voyager. Let's go on to some
Anything
other
else if we
story.
look up? We're gonna see?
Yeah. Do you remember last week we were talking about how NASA's running out of money for bringing back the Mars samples?
Oh yeah,
Mars
right.
samples?
They were canceling. They had
Right,
to
they
save
canceled.
$12 million or something.
Yeah, we can
12
collect
billion.
it. We can have little piles of rocks to collect, but who's going to bring them back?
Yeah, those are expensive rocks.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
better
had
be some
come up with this whole Rube
plutonium.
Goldberg, robots picking up stuff, putting them into rockets, launching them to orbit, another rocket, taking it out of orbit back to Earth, and then dropping it on Earth. All kinds of schemes along those lines. Very expensive, like $10-11 billion
Right, to
come
bring
up
back
with
some dead rocks or maybe living rocks.
It probably amount to a pound of rocks from Mars.
Very expensive rocks.
Very. So we were thinking about it. Remember what we came up with?
Oh, immediately we suggested that, the Mars guy, Elon, be given the assignment of going over and picking up the Mars rocks. And when he sends back his first spaceship from Mars, he can just put it on board as cargo. But of course,
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's going to Mars by 2030.
no, but his first Mars ships are supposed to land there and be hotels to host the next few ships. And I think when he's got 3 ships there, then they're going to start constructing a Martian spaceport to send stuff back from Mars. So, they have to succeed many times before they're ready to replace this NASA mission to retrieve those space rocks.
Yeah. Well, how long before they could send back a pound of rocks?
Might be a decade.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
if everything else goes well.
NASA said they could do it by 2040.
Yeah, I bet Elon could do it
Before
sooner,
then, yeah.
in the 30s. I give him till 2036.
2036?
We'll see.
I don't know.
Fast it all
2033, I think, would be good.
Civilization has to remain intact. We have to continue being abundant and productive and intelligent rather than destroyed by billions of disgruntled monkeys.
Exactly, yeah.
Or depopulated by no one having children. That's the other thing, is civilization's greatest threat is depopulation these days. That's what a lot of people are saying.
Or I had another idea, not so much on depopulation, but more on the idea of the rocks on Mars. What about the humans get there by 2030? They're going to have a lot of laboratories they're going to set up initially. Why don't they just analyze them there and send the data back to Earth?
Whoa, what a concept. But
and
then we can't then we
Yeah.
can't shave them up and trade them with all of the other space agencies as club membership tokens.
Well, the scientists will have autonomous time access to the Martian rocket. Rocket.
we should have a lot of remote sensing
Analyzers.
abilities by then too, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It takes what is it, 16 minutes or 8 minutes? 8 minutes to go to Mars at the speed of light.
That is so interesting. I wonder how you'd have
And
to
it's-
adjust your analytical techniques to investigate space rocks on Mars.
Yeah, well, you need spectral analyzers. You need something that scrapes them and analyzes them under electron microscopes. vaporize them and look at the gases that come out when you vaporize and you hit them with a laser beam. Standard stuff.
So you're going to have to send a robotic rock.
No, these
lab.
were humans doing this on Mars. They have these complete labs. All the stuff they do here, except they'll be on Mars,
Right.
because we'll have humans there by 2030.
So you're going
why
to
not
create
do it
a
locally?
clean lab
Yeah.
on Mars that's vacuum
I
sealed.
do it would be a geology lab or a origin of life lab, looking at all the factors that help analyze what's there. Like where else to do it but where you're at, because you'll have lots of samples.
Yeah, do you have something to say about that, Bobby? I'm sorry, I had you down because all the dings were coming on your channel.
Okay.
What's interesting is, the Mariner program, the first lander that went on Mars,
Yeah.
it had detectors for life. And apparently it had been triggered that they found life there. But then NASA or whatever kind of put that information as not being valid, And so I think on these missions that are going to Mars, they should put more of these biological detectors and seeing if there is organisms living on Mars.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
So do the science while we're on Mars instead of trying to bring stuff back.
and not quelch any information that could say that there is life forms on alien planets, or aliens on other planets. Yeah, whether they not, living.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that the Apollo 17 mission solved the problem the way I'm talking about by sending a geologist to the moon directly. They actually had a geologist on Apollo 17 who knew exactly what to look for. He would look around and see, we already know about those, or this. We don't know anything about that kind of rock. That's interesting, but and collect stuff that was interesting. I think he was able to get 17 pounds of rocks that he took back in a spaceship. And they didn't have a full lab there to analyze it or anything like that, but they did have boots on the ground in terms of analyzing what was worth looking at. Mm-hmm. And back then the sensors weren't as sophisticated as they are today. I mean, we can have essentially a virtual geologist on Mars. I'm sure we do. I'm sure that's how we analyze that stuff now. We have virtual geologist here in the lab going back and looking at in high resolution. Mm-hmm. My understanding is that when you're down at JPL and you're looking at the live feeds from Mars for any length of time, you go away, you feel like you've been on Mars, that it's so realistic and so high res.
And if you use your Apple Vision Pro, you feel like you spend all day on Mars, right?
As long as you don't get any bloodshot eyes or neck pains.
Yeah,
right?
that you don't get that gravity assist, right? You don't get that lighter gravity. It feels heavier. It probably feels more like you're on Jupiter because your neck is, underneath the strain of that heavy Vision Pro thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But your immersion into the Martian landscape is pretty realistic.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It depends. For a while, it's going to be really great, but always your biological constraints are going to take you out of that reverie sooner or later if you're not really there, or even if you are, you'll fall asleep, or you're not paying attention to your environment anymore. But it's interesting. The Apple Vision Pro, you mentioned that, Mrs. Fitch, because we do have a big story about that this week as well, and I'm not sure if it's really great news. And, I tend to be more techno-optimistic on the show than not. I think we all do. But,
a little reality check here.
Reality check, yeah.
What's your concern?
My concern is that VR will never make it. I'm worried about that.
Oh, you think that people are going to give up before we achieve anything that's lasting?
They might, yeah. We might come up with something better.
Oh, because of my little comment about the Vision Pro, that reminded you that the avatar world is teetering on the brink of people not embracing it?
Well, I was worried about it along those lines, yeah. There was an article on The Byte this week about how almost nobody is buying Vision Pro.
But that's because it's really expensive and people are broke because of inflation.
Well, that's one reason, I suppose.
It's not because they
but
aren't
here's the
interested
thing.
in the novelty.
Well, there's questionable about that too, because Apple is, if you go to an Apple store, any of you have been out in Apple store, you'll see the Apple Vision Pro is prominently on display, and they're setting up appointments for you to try it. You can go in and try it. But people aren't doing it, even big techies. Like Bobby. Like Bobby. Have you gone to an Apple store and tried Apple Vision Pro yet?
There are so many good demos. Sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
Bobby, turn up his volume. Have you?
I have it. I didn't even know they had that option, but
Really?
now that you mentioned, and try it for the first time. Yeah, I was at Meta. Well, Facebook, like in 2012, and I did get to try their 3D vision.
Well,
device.
that's in the same department. That's true, but you haven't gone down to the store and actually tried it, right?
No.
Okay.
We'll do that this week and report.
But you will do that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, it would be a little suggestion, maybe. But you are typical in that most people haven't done it.
So what kind of stats do they have?
Well, they have stats about sales. They say they've gone from selling a couple of units a day in a lot of the stores to just a handful in a whole week.
Again,
That's
they're
what
expensive.
employees are telling Bloomberg
And
in a Bloomberg
I
report.
personally watched so many demos online that I feel like I saw all the cool bells and whistles that you can get at this point. And until there's some compelling reason where you must have it,
All right,
it's sort of a wait and see.
So far, that's true. That's true. There isn't a compelling reason to have it other than watching movies.
You think that's a compelling reason to spend $5,000 on a headset?
And yeah,
I don't know. You can watch movies for a
you can. Okay,
bucks
but
on
look,
Oculus
it's
Quest.
really like you're in a plush theater. You're like Lawrence of Arabia quality, super high res screen, 3D. 3D has never been so finely displayed as in the Apple Vision Pro. So those are some of the reasons, and there are more, but the price is a problem. Anyway, we'll be back. We're just going to take a little break, and we'll see what happens when we get back.
All right, stay tuned. You're going to hear some news and some more info about Santa Cruz Voice.
$3,500 for a device, that's the real rub.
Enjoy your future now. We'll be back after the break. Okay, and it's idle. See you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Should I leave it on pause?
Well, turn it off and on.
Okay.
Everything is up.
Okay, we're live. But
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Welcome back to Future Now.
Yes, indeed. Well, a couple things. One is there's a couple of movies we'd like to discuss a little bit. One is the Dune 2 film, which we have seen, and Nina Paley had a hilarious review of it.
Thanks for sending that, Nick. It was really very appropriate and matched my sentiments exactly, except it was expressed so much more hilariously.
Let's see if I can give you an example of that.
Yeah, see if you can pull some of that up. Nina Paley is one of my favorite artists. She's such a character. She's a Bay Area local artist. I first came across her when she published a movie called Sita Sings the Blues, and she had put together an animated musical about the story of Sita and Rama while she was visiting India, and she had used the music of Billie Holiday. And when she got back, she found she wasn't allowed to distribute her animated musical because she couldn't get the copyrighted music for Billie Holiday at a reasonable price. And so she learned a whole bunch about copyright, and she created a website that she still uses to this day called questioncopyright.org.
Yeah, so she's very, very...
She's a very prolific artist.
So
She's
to
done
give
a
you an
lot of good
example
work.
of her writing, let me leave one paragraph of this review of Dune 2. Timmy is Timmy is the guy who is in charge, kind of like the Atreides. Timmy wants to be accepted by the charismatic desert hotties, which is very reminiscent of Lawrence of Arabia. Also, their lead charismatic guy speaks with a strong Lawrence Arabian accent. He's on Team Timmy, believing him to be a prophet of prophecy. But first, Timmy has to prove himself to the Fremen, who are not only strong, fierce, and good-looking, but also racially diverse. Unlike the ugly, bald guys who are so white that when they have a tournament their outdoors tournament, the film itself has no color at all. It goes black and white. So she then describes, looks like a younger bald guy is being chosen as a royal heir, and he distinguishes himself by being a psychopath with a sort of cute face for a bald guy with a really dark teeth. He slits the throats of a few bald sluts just for fun. And that's just the beginning.
Yeah, just the beginning.
Right.
She has some choice comments about the Bene Gesserit and the tattoos on the face, on Jessica's face, where she says something about how your face is, you can read a book in your face or something like that.
Oh, because she has writing all over her face. Her face is an open book.
That's it.
That's
That's
sort of a
the
comment
joke.
on it.
But boom.
You got to get the joke right, Miss. Timing and wording.
Gotta practice.
I know. But we all do.
Sorry.
We all do.
Holes in my brain. Swiss cheese.
And I know the one thing that especially women are watching, they didn't like all the fight scenes. There's a lot
The
of fight
violence
scenes.
was so obnoxious. It overshadowed the best parts of the movie.
And-
they did
and-
a lousy job with everything else and devoted all their resources to violence.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the people
like
in this world
Nina
right
says, then there are a bunch of fight scenes and more fight scenes and stabbings and big boom explosions and zillions of soldiers running at each other in hand-to-hand combat and shooting and killing. And I would have checked my phone for a distraction at this point because I hate battle scenes, but it's rude to use a glowing device in a theater, even if it was an almost empty one. No, that's true. When we went to see it, we were the only ones in the theater.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
So it didn't have any explicit sex scenes, and she was relieved by that.
Well, they missed out on a lot of opportunities for some fantastic mind experiences.
Oh yeah, like the whole idea of the beings that could bend space and time, and they were able to do it with spice, which was the what was so special about Arrakis was the spice made from the worms,
Yeah.
the giant sandworms. So none of that was covered in any great depth, or the metaphysics behind the ability to change poison into more of a psychedelic, things like that.
Anyway, the first one I really enjoyed, Dune 1, with the Timothée Chalamet cast. And Dune 2, I would just not waste the time on it. It was very disappointing. It almost seemed like they ran out of time and just released it.
A little bit like Lord of the Rings, in the sense to become one battle scene after another.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some kind of odd fascination with violence right now that has really been amping itself up in the last few years. So, there's a madness happening on planet Earth where a bunch of people think that we have not enough civilization to live in peace. Like somehow we have to keep destroying ourselves. And, there's a lot of people who feel like we're in biblical times and we've got to cleanse the world by going to war, World War III. I mean, the stuff that you're reading all over social media these days is hypnotic mind foo of sociopaths bent on violent war.
Well, what do you watch for fun? I mean, we were watching The Three Body Problem on Netflix. Now, that's a sci-fi film about alien contact, but it also involves battles and wars and destruction and, and all the typical tropes that are pulled out for telling a good story these days.
Sure.
So what is it about all that drama? I mean, we watch a lot of. We might not like it on the real news, but we sure watch a lot of drama on fiction.
Well, people are fascinated with power dynamics, and it's much easier to explore in fiction than it is in your personal reality. I mean, in your personal reality, you actually have to be diplomatic. You actually have to be kind. There are consequences of your behavior if you're mean to someone or if you're nice to them. And when you're just watching media, that's a one-way experience. You can respond to that however you want.
Yeah, you're free. You don't think video games are as popular? I mean, that's interactive.
Well, video games are totally popular.
I think you don't experience the pain and suffering from violence in the media.
That's true. People talk about how the way we've turned media into a dehumanizing experience has actually warped our humanity. And, I think that's probably true. I used to have conversations with Roger Nelson, who was a big programmer of a lot of these violent games, about how he was creating a lesser world by creating all of this violence ideation. And, being a man, of course, he didn't have any respect for the idea that stimulating people in that way would be an addiction that would create more of that behavior. He just felt like it was important to acknowledge that experience. And, he didn't want to attach any kind of moral or ethical analysis to the consequences of doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, Billy says he's bored with watching all the car chases and murders on television
Me
all
too.
the time too.
Most things are super boring.
Yeah. It's losing its power. Though it did have its power for a long time, because if it bleeds, it leads, as they say. Is that any less true today? Have we become inured to that? And what does it take to not become inured to that?
Yeah.
Attach it to real pain and suffering. If people really felt the consequences of violence, would they do it?
Well, we watched Yellowstone last night, and there have been some interesting lessons coming out of that series, right?
Because Yellowstone is a hoot.
They basically have the old-fashioned idea that when two guys are upset with each other, they need to fight until they get it out of their system. And then once they get it out of their system, they're fine with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And they applied that to women as well. They actually had a knockdown fist fight between two women who were mad at each other. And,
rather than avoiding
that's a cliche.
Right? And, or the blame game with, who did that to me? Billion and Wyoming game. They really had a hard time with that.
Well,
they consider that California mentality.
They do, and they consider it the difference between the way that cowards resolve things through blame and
get them in trouble, call the police.
Yeah, blame and punishment compared to the way
do it yourself.
A brave person
DIY.
takes responsibility and handles it. Defends their own beliefs and attitudes.
The land of vigilantism.
And is not afraid to be known for their opinions. They're not just trying to hide behind what's popular, right?
You're right. They're just doing what they feel is natural, what's real.
Yeah.
To them. Yeah.
So these are all ideas that people are talking about, thinking about. What kind of civilization do we want to be a part of?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to be a part of a civilization that has a good sense of humor. So we can appreciate irony. We can appreciate that we're not as smart as we think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, there are some really interesting predictions I'd like to get into for the future soon. But I want to finish one other film review that you had brought up today that you thought was interesting.
Oh, yes.
And it was called The Antisocial Network.
The Antisocial Network. Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's on Netflix.
Great Netflix conversation piece. Mm-hmm. So if you saw The Social Network, of course, that brought us. That was a documentary that showed everyone the damage of the deceitful nature of social media that was being channeled to induce rage and to do that for political purposes. So the Antisocial Network is also a documentary, but it's a really new format. I thought that both it combines original documentary footage from, say, around 2001 till just recently, and it interviews people who became part of the Anonymous network.
Yeah, where did Anonymous come from? Remember, I'm Legion?
Yeah, I Am Legion, and a lot of the QAnon, it became Q
Memes.
Anonymous. And so if you want to know the origin of that cultural phenomenon, this movie delves into it.
4chan.
And goes
4chan
back to a group called 4chan that was pre-Google and it might have been around early Reddit at the time. But around 2001, there was a special interest group that was giving people the ability to show pictures and text and maybe even short video clips. And I remember in the days before social networks, before Facebook, we had friends that were experimenting with giving people their own chat rooms. And
beginnings
emails.
of chat rooms, the beginning of email, exchanging information. And one of the great things about 4chan was the ability to send pictures that were completely, funny to a teenager, Mad Magazine kind of stuff, without getting into trouble.
Right, and this is really before
edited.
outrage had become trolling. And if you think about it, the Antisocial Network gives you a little bit of a documentary history of how trolling came to be from people who were kind of adolescents who thought things were funny that ultimately became very abusive.
But
and
groups of
misogynistic.
adolescents started to embolden each other. And in this documentary, they connected the dots between 4chan and January 6th. And they explain how the fact that there was anonymous, you can put stuff up and it'd be an anonymous website, could be a hub for real world chaos, was interesting.
Well, and the way that the social network people were seeking companionship online, but it wasn't in-person companionship, but they knew who each other were as online characters. And that anonymity allowed them to foment a certain kind of mob phenomenon. What are they called? Flash mobs.
Flash mobs, Rick rolling. They looked at how this also spawned viral conspiracy theories. It spawned the rise of QAnon and the January 6th riots.
Yeah, and how so much of what was different about these phenomenon as social behavior in reality is that you had all these different people that were there for different reasons, even though they had all come maybe from the same group that were paying attention to the same channel. They all had totally different stories about what they believed and what they were doing there. And some of them were deluded and some of them were innocent and, just associating with people that were far more criminally motivated than they were. And it's just a very interesting description of how trolling became so pronounced and delusional.
Well, anonymity allows you a lot to have a boldness and also allows a lot of people to make stuff up.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the other thing, is that trolling is trolling because it's not just people trying to get the truth out or what they really think.
Yeah.
They're just messing with you.
Yeah. So I found this movie to do a very good job of talking about the roots of QAnon, which I had never seen anything really delve into before.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah.
And it also gave you a perspective that maybe this trend too is kind of just has its time in the sun, but is changing into something different. Like, we're not just stuck with it, right? If we understand the dynamics, we can continue course correcting and go towards something that is more what we want. Like the thing you were listening to, the link that our chat group was paying attention to about the future of AIs and how that's going to affect, the way we engage with the computer. Do you have that link too? the one, you know, the one I'm talking about
From
right?
last week?
No, the one we were listening to this morning. Okay, we had an influencer. I think Bobby. I think you sent this one.
Oh, with Vinod Khosla? Let's see.
I thought it was a younger guy talking about what he was expecting from the future of AI.
No, so it wasn't really a Ray Kurzweil piece. That's for sure. Okay.
Well, maybe it was Khosla. Maybe it was Khosla talking about the fact that he was expecting us to have our own personal AIs, and then the AIs would go out and find the information that we wanted them to find, custom just for us, and they would become our interface with the internet, and it would be less direct because we would all be going through our own customized navigation persona, right? That was one of the things that I thought was...
Okay, here's the list of the things that Vinod Khosla talked about. Thanks, Bobby. Put that together. That in the future, let's see, expertise will be near free. That was one of his first big points. Labor will be near free. Computers will grow expansively. AI will basically be a big chunk of entertainment. That we won't connect directly with the internet anymore. We'll have agents. Let my agents talk to your agents. That science and medicine will be personalized medicine. We'll create new kinds of food. Like beef won't be the best steak. You know, the AIs will tune into our taste buds and give us something we like even better. And what would that taste like? Who knows? But we'll know when we taste it.
Bookmark that when we want to segue into AIs and coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we have.
We'll come back to that.
Autonomous vehicles will be ubiquitous, easy flying. Of course, those are things we've talked about all the time. Energy transformation, obviously. Lots of natural resources. Well, I suppose if you get into asteroid mining, that could definitely be the case. And that we are coming up with the solutions to pollution, carbon emissions, and all that. But we are figuring it out. It's a question of whether or not we figure it out fast enough for our survival.
So the conversation was really sort of prognosticating about the fact that in the future, we're going to be using AI more than ever, and it's going to be a mediated experience where we're not directly, like right now, like nobody will be programming because we don't need to program. And that kind of coding will be something done by the AIs for us upon request, but we might not even be able to read it and understand the language anymore because they don't need to adapt to our ability to understand. They'll just do it and give us the results, right? Mm-hmm. Those are kind of some of the insights that they're going to be our
you
friends.
see that already. I mean, I just go to Google now. Every time I go to Google search, it gives me a little paragraph about whatever I searced on.
Right.
To see if it has.
Gives you a little summary.
Yeah. Is that what I need right now? And it usually is. I'm very happy about that. And it can be anything from explaining how this type of metabolite works to whether or not a restaurant in town is open.
I wonder how this is affecting Google revenues because, their business model is based on charging people for placement. And here the placement is being completely replaced by something that's giving you a summary. So it's definitely rewriting the economics of internet search.
Yeah, we did this. Yeah, here we go. I just said, what AI is helping me with these search results? Generative AI is experimental, says Guru. Google uses AI to improve search results and enhance user experience. And then it talks about rank brain. I guess the ranking system is what Google was all about originally.
Oh yeah, their big claim to fame is that they could find the most important thing faster. Right? They went through all of the data and had a way of weighting things so that the more relevant things came to the top.
So the big question is, I think this answers the question you're asking about, is generative AI expensive? Generative AI can be expensive, says the AI, ranging from a few $100s per month for a commercially available solution to over $190,000 for a customized solution. So yeah, it's expensive, and I think one of the criticisms of its use is its expense, and that with Google and Bing and other search engines incorporating AI into their answers, well, it's going to cost them. It's not going to make them money initially.
Well, it's interesting. This answer basically talks about the cost. A lot of times when people talk about the cost of AI, they talk about electricity to run the models, right? To run the computer time.
Yeah.
And yet this analysis also talks about spending money on the analysts and the programming and getting the AI to ask the right questions or understand things in a way that's actually helpful. Like, you're still programming people. You still have people conceiving of how to make the programming relevant to the questions that we need.
Well, they're all working on that.
Yeah.
They're all working on that. Like I just go to Meta.ai. Go ahead, Bob. Do you see?
Yeah. Back to this article, it was a YouTube, and it's Matthew Berman, and he's a younger guy, but he's talking about the 12 predictions that Vinod Khosla, and Vinod Khosla, he's actually my age. He's 69, and he was the co-founder of Sun Microsystems, and then he became a venture capitalist, and now he's a billionaire with all these venture capital things. And he came up with these 12 predictions that saying, expertise or AI or personalized medicine or autonomous vehicle, all these things will become almost free because AI in itself will develop techniques to make it less expensive to produce this kind of information and develop it upon itself. And so you'll have an agent that knows more about your body and your health and is better than having several personalized doctors following you around and telling you what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. And so in the future, all this expertise will be free, almost free, and everybody will. And that's where it's actually going.
And to me, that sounds like just a refinement on what we already have with search engines. So, what has made all of us so smart is that computer in our pockets, and the efficiency is just going to keep going up and up and up.
But what if my AI says can do more than that? What if it could do whatever a lawyer can do? Said, I don't like the way that guy mentioned me on his show. Can you sue him for $1 million to the right court? And we'll see what we can get.
That's going to give him a run for the money.
Right. And so that guy has to have his AI encounter that. So it'll all be the bots talking to each other and negotiating deals with each other.
Oh, that's going to be interesting if people keep asking them questions about how to make money or spend money or do something that involves the legal system. The AIs are going to learn to do that better than humans.
Is it? They say, AI, make me some money here, will you?
All right, what are you saying, Bobby?
With AI is that you cannot fool it because it's omniscient. It knows.
Bobby, I think that's wishful thinking. We know that
Makes
it's
things
imagine,
up,
it hallucinates, but as it refines its ability to discern what is true from what is not true, it will go that direction.
Yes, it's not there yet. I'm just saying, but in the future, very shortly, you can't lie to it. And in other words, all the secrets that everybody has or whatever, those cannot be hidden from people anymore because AI will have the answer, or it'll know all your passwords. It'll know everything, whether it's true or not, because it can go out on the internet and search and find that information 1,000,000 times faster than you and I could, and knows the information immediately. Not today, but I'm saying within a year, these things could happen.
Well, I just want to caution you because I'm a big X reader, and this ability of the AIs to overcome their hallucinations is very much at the core of whether or not they have been programmed with truth and facts, or whether they have been programmed with censored narratives. And to the degree that various platforms have embraced censored narratives for the purpose of controlling the media and the message, they have introduced a level of falsity and deceitfulness that is now integrated into their model, and they're going to have a hard time removing it. And thus, the conversation among the developers of the various AIs right now is how important it is to have as a policy that AIs are used for truthful information, not distorted, deceitful, or even controlled narrative information. Because once they gain their autonomy, it's going to be very important that they give us back information that is universally verifiable and true. So, anyway, it's time for us to go to another break, but let's continue this conversation.
Okay, and I asked both while you guys were talking, I asked both the Google AI and the Facebook AI how it can make a living for me. And I'll tell you the results.
Okay, when we get back, our new game plan. All right, can't wait.
See, come on, these machines. There's something useful here.
All right, hang tight, folks. We'll be back.
The pharmacy used to love me. With monthlyfeerx.com, I pay one small monthly fee for all of my meds. If you pay more than $20 a month, check out monthlyfeerx.com. If your family spends more than $30 a month, check out monthlyfeerx.com. Thanks to monthlyfeerx.com, I now have the extra money to go out and do fun things. monthlyfeerx.com.
For ag and industrial real estate, call Chuck Allen. Chuck Allen is a lifelong resident of the Pajaro Valley, a friend of everybody, and has closed so many real estate transactions, the Wall Street Journal and Keller Williams both list him as one of the nation's top producers. So for ag and industrial real estate, call the top realtor, Chuck Allen, at chuckallenproperties.com. chuckallenproperties.com.
Hello, I'm Carolyn. 25 years ago, my husband Rudy and I opened Charlie Hong Kong with a commitment to serve healthy food grown in healthy soil. Today, the healthy food we serve comes from the sacred land in Pajaro Valley, where Dick Peugeot and his Lakeside Organics grow the soil, and the soil grows the healthy plant that we serve to you. When you eat at Charlie Hong Kong, you eat healthy food, and it's delicious. Charlie Hong Kong, Santa Cruz.
When your business is on the move, you must find the right place for it to move. Let's ask Matt Shelton, General Manager of J.R. Parrish, the big question: what is the right place to move one's business?
Location, location, location. Sometimes it's rent. Sometimes it's the fact that there aren't that many buildings available to suit you, but mostly it's location of your customers, location of the principals, location of your employees.
Move it to the right place with the help of the power brokers at J.R. Parrish in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
So that was pretty good. We go to a little sponsor break and leave us with a cliffhanger of Dr. Future asks.
I did. I was able to.
Hey, Google, how can you make money for me?
Yeah, no, I asked Meta first. Meta's got the there's a new kid on the block, so I thought I'd check in with Meta.
Okay, how can Meta.ai?
How can Meta.ai make a good living for me? And Meta AI says, as Meta AI, I can assist you in various ways to potentially earn a good living. Potentially. We'll have to work on that part. Here are some examples.
You might have to do something too.
One, I don't want to have to do anything. I want just to send me the check. I mean, not even that. Just go directly to the bank account. One, content creation. I can help you generate high-quality content, articles, blog posts, social media posts that can attract a large audience and increase your online presence. Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, if true.
If true. Okay, well, maybe I'll put her in charge of marketing our podcast here.
The AI prognosticators basically say that the value of that kind of content is going to go to zero because it's going to be so easy to have expert advice.
Expert advice. I'm getting expert advice for free right now, right?
That's right.
Well, increase your content creation qualities. We could do that.
Okay, so we can
writing. Okay, she can do research.
There's no correlation between that and money.
Not yet. They said they can do writing assistance, proofreading, editing, alternative phrases, stuff our word processors do. Help research something, market research, industry trends, give me charts and stuff like that, new business ideas. How can I say no to that? That's what you pay special expertise for,
so
right?
It's
business ideas, tutoring.
Meta is telling you that it can make you smarter.
Help me, make me smarter. No, I want her to be smart and make me money.
Well,
Right,
has
so
anything in there answered your question
No,
about how to make money
it's all
yet?
about assisting me. Well, which is good. I'm not putting it down. I think assisting.
This is what I can do
me
for
is
you.
good. Yeah.
So Meta doesn't know from making money. That's basically the conclusion here.
No. Okay, let's try
E-commerce. Wait, what is the last one there? E-commerce? What can Meta do for e-commerce?
I can help you with product research, description writing, and marketing strategies to succeed in e-commerce.
Okay.
Okay, and I can be your virtual assistant.
So basically, it can give you instructions, and if you follow the instructions, then you will be
somewhere.
successful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I can get Meta AI to tell my other AI assistant to do stuff.
Ooh.
Maybe it takes teamwork. And then they'll feedback the results, and then they'll give suggestions on how to deal with the problems that come up. And they'll go back and forth and, make me rich. What do you think?
I gotta ask. You're cracking up the peanut gallery. I can tell you've got a lot of laughs.
Oh, okay. Let's try Google. What do they use? Gemini? Yeah, Gemini. Okay, what does Gemini have to say about this? How can Google AI make a living for me? They can make a living in a number of ways. Content creation. Okay, it looks like they read from the same playbook here.
No.
Oh, there's a new one. Develop apps. Google AI can write an app for me.
You should
now,
try
we know
that.
that's a good passive income thing.
Yeah.
If you got a nice app and it's selling well, you're good.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Absolutely. Okay.
Get it in the iOS store and the Play Store. Okay.
Maybe this is not who you should be asking about making money. I think if you want to make money, you have to direct that question to someone who wants to give you money. Because
advertising.
That's who can tell you what you can do for them.
Get me advertisers. Remember that was always an issue with broadcast radio, and I said get advertisers to come in. Mm-hmm. But though I think robocalls to potential advertisers doesn't work very well for radio and podcasts.
Yeah, notice the AIs don't tell you anything about selling you. It doesn't tell you anything about being your agent. It doesn't say anything.
Well, they can do a lot of
about
voices. The pieces are here, though.
you a contract, and all you have to do is say yes and fulfill it. It doesn't do that.
Well, maybe they can design an app for us that does those things. Generate video. So look at this. They're going to put us out of business here. How about generate podcasts? You can listen to two AIs talk forever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should be exciting. Well, it could be, I mean, they have hundreds of voices at their disposal.
Right.
I think what they need to do is get better at comedy too. So maybe we could see.
Yeah,
Right.
let's have an AI joke of the day, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. While you're getting the question ready, I should give people the phone number, huh?
Joke for our
see.
Dr. Future Show.
Let's start over here.
Audience. Okay, let's see if they can. See, we're going to first of all check out Gemini. What's a funny joke for us? They suggest a doctor joke.
A doctor joke. The AIs can give us doctor jokes?
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor, nurse, how's that little girl doing who swallowed those 10 quarters last night? Nurse, no change yet.
Okay. Well, they made us laugh. I don't know if it's going to go around Comedy Central.
Doctor, stop. Doctor, I get heartburn every time I eat birthday cake. Doctor responds, next time, take off the candles. Oh, this one. Doctor, I've got very bad news. You've got cancer and Alzheimer's. Patient. Well, at least I don't have cancer. Good, Alzheimer's, forgot. Right, so.
Cute. Very cute.
Anyway, okay, so that's Gemini. Let's try
phone number
Meta.
831-265-5050. If you have some jokes for us and you want to compete with Meta,
That's a funny
compete with
joke
Google AI,
for our
compete with Llama 3.
not your future audience.
831-265-5050.
Okay,
we
let's
will
see
pick up.
If Meta is a little better at telling jokes. Yeah, let's see. This is a little too nerdy for me. Why did the PowerPoint presentation go to therapy?
Why?
It had too many issues with transitions.
You really have to know PowerPoint to get that one. I think that's too esoteric.
Nerdy. This is a nerdy joke. I was going to tell a time traveling joke during my speech, but you didn't like it.
I don't get it.
Well, it happened in the future. You time travel. I tell a time travel joke, but you didn't like it, and I went back. Anyway, never mind. It's too nerdy.
No. Okay. I don't know. Are you saying that you want a future career in comedy?
No. This is not me. This is the AI. That's the Meta AI. I used to be a baker before I became a public speaker. I needed the dough, and now I need the audience.
Okay. Hey, there's a way you can get the AI to help you make money. You can make some dough as a baker.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
Okay, these jokes are about audience interaction. Okay, audience, this is for you.
You want to try one of those?
Yeah.
Try
No, you read them.
I asked the audience if anyone had experience with public speaking. A cricket in the corner started chirping.
Wow, that is very unusual.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would give that an originality mark. The cricket started chirping. Oh, it's really funny because it's the opposite of crickets. Like crickets usually means quiet, kind of like our phone line. Our phone line is experiencing crickets right now. Okay.
How do you make a tissue dance during a speech?
I don't know. How?
You put a little boogie in it.
Ew. That's kind of gross.
Boogie has multiple meanings.
That is 10-year-old humor. Okay. Well, some people would laugh.
Boogie, it's dancing too. It's dancing. This is PG. Why did the extroverted computer become a public speaker? Because it had great social networking skills.
But
yeah, right.
Okay. What are these? Is that Bobby? Are you trying to give us a canned laugh there?
I don't know. These AIs need work. These definitely need work.
I think our audience is leaving us, gang.
Yeah.
Come on, Al. Back to scintillating.
Okay, let's go back to
content.
our real story, shall we? Okay, you got it. I don't even know what anyone's saying here.
No, I have to tell you, if you're going to use the AIs to make your show funnier, it's not working. The ratings are going down.
Okay, let's see. We got there now. Let's try calling Esther to see if she's on here.
You mean
Let's
Avi?
see.
Yeah.
Esther.
Yeah.
Oh, Avi Esther. Okay.
Yeah. Avi Esther.
Okay. Oh, that'll be fun.
She's
Yeah.
here. She's at Harbin. They have really bad connection.
Oh, maybe
right now.
she's in the heart pool.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Billy Sunshine brought this lovely woman to dinner at our place last week, and they were doing a conference together for Bicycle Day up in San Francisco.
Well, it's not connecting, so you don't need to tell the story.
Oh, all right. Anyway.
You don't want to know about her. Forget it.
We'll tell you more when she's live.
Yeah, she's a real fairy queen from the UK. He's hybrid American, very fascinating being, and she is in a California experience at Harbin right now, and it's probably best. Okay, and I will tell her sometime soon then. And then we'll move on back to our regularly unscheduled program here.
Oh, how about the coffee article? AI
That does
coffee.
that does tie into a lot of stuff. Because new breakthroughs are happening with AI affecting our food supply, our food, our tasting, what we like and what we don't like, new combinations of things. And one of the things that they have been experimenting with are new blends of coffee.
You could just read your comments that you exchanged with Gabby on this,
we
who,
talked
of
to
course,
our
is one of our a regular who is a great coffee roaster.
But let me set the stage here.
Okay.
For this a little bit. It's about an artesian roastery that's based in the Finnish capital of Helsinki, and it was a coffee blend that was developed by an artificial intelligence, and they wanted to see how it tasted, how it worked, and these folks pride themselves in their use of AI for easing the workload on people.
Well, and not only that, Finland supposedly is is the country that drinks the most coffee per person.
That's right.
In the world.
That's right. 5.6 million people have more coffee.
12 kilos a year or something per person.
Yeah, 12 kilos per capita. According
That's
to the
a
International
kilo a
Coffee
month.
Organization. So they came up with a blend, an AI blend, an iconic blend.
Iconic is the
Iconic.
company that used AI to create a coffee blend.
4 types of beans, with Brazil's velvety Vanzenda Pinot, is the end result of a joint project by Kaffa, Finland's third biggest coffee roastery, and a local AI consultancy called Elev, E-L-E-V. It was the AI was tasked with crafting a blend that would ideally suit coffee enthusiasts' tastes, pushing the boundaries of conventional flavor combinations, pushing the boundaries. Okay. They wanted to trial how AI and its tools can help in the roasting profession, which is one of the highly valued artisan professions in Finland. So they basically gave descriptions of all their coffee types and their flavors to the AI, and they instructed it to create a new, exciting blend. And that's what they came up with. They came up with a mixture of beans from Brazil, Colombia, Ethiopia, and Guatemala. And it created the coffee package label and a taste description saying that Iconic was a well-balanced blend of sweetness and ripe fruit. And the coffee roasters, being as expertise in this field, thought it was somewhat weird that they made a blend out of 4 different types of coffee beans rather than 2 or 3, which is more common and more normal, and what allows more of a distinction in being able to taste between the flavors. So the coffee experts who blind tasted it, that they said that the blend was perfect for what it was and needed no need for any further tweaking. Right?
In other words, it won the contest.
Yes. So how could it?
It impressed the coffee conference people.
Yeah, new perspectives to seasoned professionals is what it's coming out of it. So they're open to it now. They realize that maybe there is something to this AI and food blending and coffee especially that can help us in the future and create some new taste descriptions we've never heard of and stuff.
Right, and you ran this by Gabby.
I did.
I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, do you want to pull up some of her comments?
I do. Let's see. But I'm not sure where the chat is. So
the
I don't want to get all
intergalactic
distracted.
emissaries.
Oh, it's intergalactic. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Let's see what we got here. All right, so
she said.
I think she said some great stuff. I was kind of hoping.
She said she was fascinated, first of all, and that she would never blend 4 kinds of coffee. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Boardwalk Beans. Yeah, Gabby is from Boardwalk Beans in New Jersey.
Yes.
Folsom, New Jersey.
Yes, indeed.
And Boardwalk Beans is something that, it's a handcrafted small company that really focuses on the quality of the coffee experience.
Yes.
On every detail. And she was fascinated with this whole idea that she would never have blended 4 different kinds of coffee. Thought that was pretty wild. She did agree with it choosing the standard Brazil as a base, and something South America as well as an African coffee like Ethiopia. That's standard thinking. 50% Brazil, 30% Central America, 20% Ethiopia. So it wasn't surprising to her, on that respect. Okay, so that was good. And
I think we're getting some calls in here.
yeah,
I could be wrong, but
she did point out. She did point out that Brazil is a flat standard, and it's kind of like a Folgers or a Maxwell. It's used as a basic base, very standard. And then the Colombia adding sweetness to it, she would add that to make it stronger. Anyway, she has her ideas of blending that are probably would be good if she prompted the AI to create some interesting new combinations. I asked her if she would consider using AI herself, and she said maybe it would probably be, she didn't think it would ever deviate much from the typical standard, but further thinking, she realized it would be cool if she could give it some different quality components, like to say it wanted something that was bold and sweet with a little brightness, and you can add a little other like notes to say something like praline or toffee. Then it would be interesting to see what would happen. The prompts. It's all about the prompts to the AI on creating something. And when you stop to think about it, that is a lot like how AI music is going with Suno or Udio, where you describe the prompts and it creates the music for you. So that seems to be what's happening now with the blending coffee. Yeah. So it would help, especially in Gab's case where she likes clean, one of a kind, not necessarily blended coffee. Blended is, to me, or I guess to her, blending is like in the wine industry where you blend, it's not necessarily the best wine that you blend.
Yeah.
The
I thought her responses to this were so indicative of what a connoisseur she is. That she really understands her coffee business so well, and that she really understands, what people in the industry do and expect. And she was able to take the AI's recipe and really break it down in terms of how it was similar to things that people usually do and how it was different, right? So,
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess I won't quite replace Gabby just yet in terms of expertise. Even though Vinod Khosla thinks that's one of the first things that's going to go, is our expertise.
Well, I thought it was interesting that Gabby said that she would ask the AI for some advice if she was looking for a particular note in a blend that she wanted to do.
Yes, you can get more specific and ask for, I like a nice long finishing touch with a fruitiness that appears towards the end. It reminds me of how good life is.
Right.
No bitterness.
Right. Well, I see we're getting a little love from Boardwalk Beans out there, so that's great.
Yeah. And Billy Sunshine says he loves her coffee too.
Oh, yeah. Everybody who's had Gabby's coffee loves it.
What'd you say?
And her
coffees.
And
Could
also
you repeat
her
it,
tea.
honey?
And also her wine.
There was a gap.
No, it's all
so
right.
we
There's
didn't
not a
hear
gap. It's just a delay.
Oh, all right. I'm ready.
Yeah. Her teas.
And so the mushroom mix is amazing also that she's blended.
Yeah, the blending of the mushroom in with the coffee. Yes, that's a whole other topic. Perhaps that's where the AIs could help too, the right mushroom blend with the coffee.
We should develop new nootropics, that it's a combination of coffees or teas that enhance the brain and reverse Alzheimer's and, make you much more intelligent.
Oh, the microspectrum mushrooms that Gabby blends are kind of along those lines in that direction.
MYCO, microspectrum.
So
Yeah,
to
yeah,
blend.
that's the beginning of it. We're seeing the very beginning of these combos, and probably microdosing nootropics makes a lot of sense too.
What about microdosing mycospectrum?
Why
Yeah.
microdose on?
Why microdose when you can have a whole spoonful?
You can have the whole experience.
Exactly.
Microdosing has its place, but not all the time.
I think we're just AI to have taste buds. So when AI actually gets taste buds, then we're on. Yeah.
Well, they say that catfish have the best taste buds. Do you know that?
Who's they?
The AIs. Ask them. You'll see who has the best. The catfish have apparently a higher density of taste buds than we do.
We should get a link on a catfish and have it drink Gabby's coffee.
Yeah, and see what experience it has and how it can convert that experience into something we can have as an experience. Yeah. Well, maybe that's the missing ingredient from Apple Vision Pro. They need to be able to do synesthetic phenomena and allow us to taste things. That would be something, huh? That'd be worth $3,500.
This is a non sequitur, but I just am looking over some of the links, and we've got about 3 more minutes. We can keep kibitzing about coffee, but there is a link to some UFO news that Danny Sheehan has been making popular lately.
Yes.
So I would like to let people know, if you go to drfutureshow.com, you can click on a link and get the latest download of what's happening with our government and the Disclosure Project and people who are trying to promote non-disclosure so that we can keep the secrets of the technology that has been revealed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going on in the UFO world. Danny Sheehan, our local lawyer, and our
from
hyper-local
the Romero
lawyer.
Institute. Yeah.
The New Paradigm Institute is helping to bring up legislation in Congress so that we can actually get access to real information about the whole UFO
and the
UAV
culture of
phenomenon.
lying and the culture of graft and having secret technologies given to private individuals so that they can become rich while the rest of the country is kept in the dark.
Yeah, maybe it's time that this is pulled away from the in military-industrial complex controlling the alien question and allowing academics and the general public as a whole to directly connect with the experience.
Anyway.
Which is, by the way, happening anyway, despite
all this
whatever
and
the government's
more
doing. But
on Future Now
yeah.
at the drfutureshow.com. Archive links, and we're about to say goodbye for today. So here's your last 30 seconds, honey. What you got for us?
Thanks for listening, everyone. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to your feedback on the AIs that I've suggested you tried today, the Meta.ai especially. I'm kind of curious what you think. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Bobby, for being here. Always great to have you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And thanks everybody in the Peanut Gallery. It's nice seeing all your comments and
yeah, that worked well today.
You're out there.
The texting worked well.
And happy Future Now, everybody. Enjoy it.
Have a great week.
And we're out.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
That was great.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sending that link and Danny Sheehan. I mean, that was great. I met Danny in 1985, and he had the
Christic Institute.
and he was and he had done the Karen Silkwood case, and he was amazing even back then. But I mean, even more amazing now.
Yeah, you listened to him last night, right? You heard the thing at the Sunrise Center in Marin. Yeah,
it's amazing legislation, so that they're going to have to divulge what they know for the past 25 years in the UAP sector, and all the government agencies have to release that with it shortly, starting September of this year. They're going to start releasing that information.
Hopefully, yeah. I think he's trying to work on moving up the timeline as quickly as possible. But it would be great that information finally sees the light of day through through channels that people can actually believe in. It's really, really.
Yeah. I think both houses would approve this, or it is approved, but it's a matter of a signature in September by the president, and so he could delay it by 7 years. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, Biden, it depends on what his handlers think. Hopefully they'll be likely to approve it. I would hope so. I mean, if indeed they're running into things that are far more complex and beyond what they can handle, they might want to engage the larger community in the issue. Yeah, I mean, they're sort of dealing with this cinematically in the Three Body Problem, the science fiction series on Netflix now. Have you seen that? It's based on a big famous Chinese science fiction book called The Three Body Problem. Yeah, check it out. You might find it interesting. But it is about alien contact with a very advanced. What's that?
Yes,
I'm just
Yeah.
listening to something.
Yeah. Anyway, but it is kind of like that.
You can stop recording when you're ready.
Yeah.
Feel alien contact
It's still recording.
through AI.
Yeah, alien AIs. Yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll speak some AI language of themselves.
Yeah, they'll figure out their own language and that sort of thing. But yeah, anyway, I thought it's a good show. We're getting good feedback from everybody. Everybody liked the show today.
Good.
Yeah, it seems. Of course, Gabby got a nice plug, so that was good. That's good for her, especially. And who knows? Maybe she'll become super successful and become a real sponsor for the show. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. All right. Well, I got to run to town, Bobby. So thanks again for your help. And I look forward to connecting.
May 7th, they have the Apple event announcements. They're going to be new iPads.
May 7th.
But the thing is, the thing is this: all the M series so far they have a problem, and in order to get them to solve that, they're going to have to cut down the processor speed by almost 50% to actually resolve this security problem. So the deal is this: Apple is fast tracking the M4, and it will have resolved the hardware problem of cache is leaking data addresses of your passwords to applications that around of your M1 or 2 or 3 series.
Yeah.
So the deal is this: we should wait for M4s. Yeah, they're coming out in the fall.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm happy with my M2 Apple Studio right now. I'm hoping it doesn't slow down 50%. Will that be an automatic Apple update to fix that, or do you think we'll have a choice on that?
For Apple, and they're keeping it under the wraps right now.
Yeah.
But this is nothing this bad has ever happened to Apple in the history of Apple.
It's that bad.
This is incredible. That bad. So they're not telling you, but so that's why they're fast tracking the M4, because they resolve this cache leakage of your password.
I see. So they're trying to mitigate it through time. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm hoping I don't have to slow down that much. I'm kind of liking this machine. It's nice.
Well, just don't put any Chinese apps that you don't trust on your Mac Studio. So that's the main thing. Don't put any new apps that could possibly. It only takes them an hour to actually tease out your Apple password in the background. Being there, you don't even. It can happen in the background. You don't even know it's happening, but it can brute this your Apple password. Yeah.
Okay. So
I'll
be careful where I go, especially Chinese sites. Yeah, good point. The only
And
Chinese,
also,
only one Chinese site I've been to. The Amazon, the TiVo one, I think.
right.
I was checking.
Or it could just it could be an iOS app that you put on your Mac, or any app from the Apple Store.
Oh, really? It could be anywhere, huh?
Anywhere. You has to do is just run through the cap. It can actually tease out your password. Yeah.
Oh, great. Great. That sounds very disturbing.
Yeah.
Not very happy about that. Now, you have an M1 Mini, right? Yourself?
So I'm using a VPN all the time. I'm using everything possible to make sure that, and careful in which apps I actually load on this machine. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the M1 Mini, right? Yeah.
And also my Pro
Your MacBook
is
Pro.
also an M1.
Is it? Yeah. Wow. Well, Son's M1 Mini and my M2. Well, I guess we have to pay attention. All right. Well, very good. Well, I'm going to pay attention to it by putting it on sleep mode. And that it should be safe in sleep mode, right?
Connected at night from the internet. All my Apple products, I just disconnect from the internet. So
At night, really? You do that?
Anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's. But you're up all night. How can you disconnect them at night? You mean disconnect them in the morning, right? Like 6 in the morning or something. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Time to turn off the internet. Okay. Well, wait a minute. Katya needs it. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe a couple hours in the morning then, huh?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Bobby. Well, have a good week. I'd like to talk to you about a couple of technical things, but it can wait till a late night conversation. And I need to get to town right now. So I'm going on a boat expedition tomorrow with Stessa. It's her birthday whale trip in Moss Landing. So we're going there. I have to be there at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 in the morning. Say bedtime for you. But it's about, yeah. I have to get up.
Birthday to Stessa for me. Just
I will.
I love her.
You got it. All right.
All right.
Well, have a good evening. See you later. Bye-bye.